Hey, it's Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition of the show. You can, as always, dial in toll-free. Take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We will go to your calls and thoughts, and also the story I promised on our Friday night show, but we never got a chance to get to, about the FCC, which is a government agency. I mean, I don't like any government agencies, but one that I happen to be the least fond of, because they happen to be the one that regulates the business that of the radio world. So we'll get into that. But it's actually not about radio. It's about their robocaller enforcement division, targeting those pesky phone salespeople robots that
I hate those things.
Call you at all hours of the day.
You know, I mean, I don't know which ones you get, but I get these ones where they're like, you requested information on pain management. No, the hell I did not.
Your car's warranty is expired.
the car's warranty thing too.
Student loans,
wait
which I've never had.
You know nothing about my car's warranty, right, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the only car that was in my name. I've never had
a warranty. It's always used for me.
I don't have a car in my name. This is my cell phone you're calling, so you're certainly not calling any other family member. Mm-hmm. And I just recently sold my car, which was a 2002 F-350 that was rusted out, right? Like, there's no way that they're going to warranty that anyway. Just a bunch of lies.
Yeah. The good news is they have been fined $208 million. The bad news is the FCC's only collected almost $6,800. Not quite, but, you know, we're getting there.
I don't think this is working.
So we'll tell you more about that story. Your calls and thoughts, of course, are welcome. Our number is 855-450-FREE. And don't forget our Discord server, where you will sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us if you jump into one of those Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. So we go to your calls and thoughts, starting out with Dave in New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Gentlemen.
Hi, Dave. Go ahead.
Good news.
Oh, good.
Apparently, there has been a bail reform law that is passed in New Hampshire, and the population of the main jail, I guess the most populous jail in New Hampshire, the one in Manchester, is down from 500 to 230.
Holy crap. What is this reform that you're talking about?
I mean, sometimes you know how it is that really bad things get through and we don't notice until they're law.
Yeah.
Well, this is the case for something good apparently got through, and we didn't notice until it was law. Or I mean, I think it's a law, but maybe it's just a bureaucratic thing. But I think it's a law.
Well, I know the ACLU has been working. The ACLU of New Hampshire specifically has been working on bail reform. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was their project. Is this the one I believe that I've heard about from them, where it means that if you can't afford to pay bail, they can't hold you, basically?
I don't know. The Union Leader article said that the people are kind of going into programs, basically, instead of in jail. And the superintendent of the jail has actually requested a budget decrease.
Well, that doesn't sound like bail reform. Programs are generally only available to people who've been sentenced. So bail reform would affect the people who haven't been sentenced, who have not been to trial, who are being held pre-trial. And I know the ACLU of New Hampshire was working on that. Maybe there was some confusion in the Union Leader on, you know, what exactly is going on here.
The Union Leader did mention bail reform near the top of the article, but, I mean, that may not have been the only factor.
I see. Okay, good.
Another thing, apparently, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think that's good news. People get screwed over if they don't have a bunch of money and they get arrested for whether the charge is legit or not. In a lot of cases, they aren't. They get held without trial for some amount of time before they finally go into court. And if they're found not guilty, you don't get the 3 months back, or however long it was, 6 months that you were in
You've either got to be rich, or you're going to have to plea, and that's just how these things go.
That's how they set it up.
Yeah, that's how it's. They don't have the manpower to give everybody a trial at this point in the United States. Like the whole place, far fewer than 1% of charges end up in a trial, which means that the vast majority of people that are in prison, the vast majority, nearly 100% of people who are in prison and jail and all that stuff, who are post-sentence, they pled out.
Dude, I go out every month.
They didn't get a trial.
I go every month to the courthouse here in Keene, New Hampshire, and on jury selection day, and I'm there with flyers about jury nullification, which is about your right as a juror to vote your conscience in a case. So you don't have to vote based on the facts. You can say not guilty based on your feeling about the law. You think the law is bad? Like, let's say the war on drugs. You think that's a bad law? Just toss out the case. Not guilty. You have the right to do that. I stand out there every single month, and I'm telling you, I think it's gotten a little worse over time, but it's half the months of the year, they don't have any trials. Half the time, I will go out to the court, and no one's there. Nobody's, normally if there's jury selection, there's like a few people waiting out front when the doors first open. Nobody's there.
You're one guy standing in front of a huge flood, attempting to stop this from occurring. The fact is that
trials don't even occur, though. That's what I'm telling you.
It's not about information at this point. People have enough. They know they can get a trial.
Yeah.
It's that the prosecutors have the deck rigged.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just telling you how bad it is. Not a single trial.
I know it's bad. I got it. It's just it's rigged. I mean, you would even in many cases it doesn't even make sense to take it to trial. It takes it basically takes a lunatic to say, sorry, I didn't do this, and I will not plead to something I didn't do. I just said that, and I guarantee you somebody's going to call in and say, I said just that, and then I did X number of years as a result, because it happens all of the time. Juries, once you take it to trial, this is the problem, juries find you guilty 66% of the time.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 people that actually go to trial are found guilty. One would presume that the people that have the audacity to take a charge all the way through are more likely to be innocent than guilty, so you would have a different number. But the juries are just rubber stamps. These people want to go home. They're nincompoops, ignoramuses. They have no business trying their neighbors.
The other thing to bear in mind in terms of people not paying bail, you may not want to pay bail because you don't want to fund the bad guys. You want to do the right thing. And that happened to me when they arrested me at the Joe Biden event. I refused to pay the bail guy because I didn't want to help the bail guy. He's the bad guy.
I'm the same way as you. I do not pay fines into this system. If somebody wants to pay bail on my behalf, I can't stop them from doing that, but I've never asked for that to occur. Thank you, Dave, for the call tonight. That's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. Let's go to a different Dave. This one's in New Mexico. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Toll-free number, by the way, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say the bail guy could be the good guy, too, in some cases. Oh, and thanks for the memory. You were talking about Jarhead the other day when I tried to call.
That's a movie.
I'm in two different movies with a Gyllenhaal and Garrity that was in Jarhead. So thanks for that memory.
How many degrees are you from Kevin Bacon?
Kevin, well, for sure. Wow, how do you count degrees anyway? So if you know him personally, is that 1 degree?
No.
Good question.
The way it works with the 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon game is that if you are a person who is in a movie with Kevin Bacon is 0 degrees from Kevin Bacon, I believe.
Okay.
Check on that for me, Ian. 0 degrees from Kevin Bacon, and then if you are in a movie with somebody who is in a movie with Kevin Bacon, you are then 1 degree from Kevin Bacon. And if you're in a movie with somebody who was in a movie with Kevin Bacon, then you're 2 degrees, that kind of thing.
Okay, well then I'm 1 degree from everybody in Hollywood, because by the time that you've associated with a few of them, they've associated with everybody else, and so you end up being 1 degree from everybody.
Okay, so Mark, according to Wikipedia, you're incorrect.
Okay,
at least my understanding of what you just said, because I was looking for this at the same time. But Kevin Bacon himself has a Bacon number of 0, so he is the 0. The actors who have worked directly with Kevin Bacon have a Bacon number of 1. I presume that would also include like his mother and direct family members and things like that.
No, not in a movie.
It's only people in movies?
It's a movie game.
David, thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Because I thought it was just like anybody who's connected to Kevin Bacon.
It's not as I understand it.
And I'd heard that since the internet, it's gone down to like 2 degrees. Like nobody's more than 2 degrees separated from Kevin Bacon.
I don't know.
We're coming up here. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. You may bring up whatever's on your mind. We've got the news about the FCC failing miserably at collecting any of its fines. from the $208 million that they've issued. We'll tell you more about that. Ian and Mark in the studio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us here, you can bring up whatever's on your mind. That's 855-450-3733.
Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. Freedom Fest's theme this year is the Wild West. Was it liberty and opportunity or lawlessness and violence? Penn Jillette, Candace Owens, John Mackey, Kevin O'Leary, and Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, Stephen Moore, Grover Norquist, libertarians, conservatives, liberals, whomever. They're just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates and share real solutions and converse freely. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL. Get your tickets now. You join us. It's going to be a great event.
I've never been.
Yeah, and you're going.
Yep.
Freedom. I'm going to be actually moderating a panel this year.
What's it going to be about?
At this point, they have yet to give me that.
They just know you want. They know that they want you to moderate a panel.
Correct.
Just don't know which one.
Right. They're going to put me in the right place. Freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount. You get $50 off. FTL50, $50 off your ticket. By the way, if you're not convinced, right, like you're sitting there, whatever convention, go check out freedomfest.com/FTL, and you can see the 5 best speeches from last year. If this doesn't convince you, nothing will, right? Judge Napolitano, Alan Dershowitz, Charlie Kirk, Heather McDonald, John Mackey, all for free. freedomfest.com/FTL. It's freedomfest.com/FTL.
All right, to your phone calls and thoughts, we have Mike in Janesville, Wisconsin, listening to WCLO. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hey.
My call is actually about Google.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are right on when it comes to the chronic pain and all these other calls that you get on these robocalls.
Yep.
But Google, evidently, they have a listing that comes out, which you never sign up for, but they want you to verify your business listing. I have a business that I've been in business for over 30 years.
Okay.
Right.
And never had an issue when it was white pages, but now that it's Google, they call me and it needs to be updated and this and that. Well, I'm a dedicated contractor right now. I don't need it, so I want to just deny the whole thing. Well, it's going to cost me to deny it.
How?
Now, not as much as what it would cost me if I verified it.
I don't understand.
So,
what do you have to? I've never gone through this before, so I don't know what they charge. I can't imagine they charge just to list you.
I don't know what they charge. They've never told me, but they said that they're, your numbers are automatically put in this thing, but they want to have it updated so it's verified, so the customers are getting the correct information.
And you're saying you're so busy you don't need any new customers. You don't need the advertising.
Well, I'm dedicated. I'm a dedicated contractor right now.
Does that mean that you're under contract and you aren't available? Is that what you mean by dedicated?
I've been in construction for years, and now I'm doing some trucking that is dedicated to one company.
Tell me how ignoring these emails or whatever, or their calls or whatever, how is it that that's going to cost you?
Well, it doesn't cost me to ignore it. Basically, the call comes in, and I have about 100 people that I see every week delivering appliances. So I don't know what these numbers are when they come in, so I answer. And then it will tell you, please stay on. This is very important. Your Google listing may be displaying false information. And I've always hung up. And every once in a while, I'll get on there and I'll try to talk to somebody, try to get this off. There are 300 companies that contract with Google to try to get this stuff verified.
Wow.
So I can push do not call me again, but I got to do this 300 times before it's all done. But one guy that I had talked to, yes, it's going to cost me to verify it, but it would be less if I denied it. That's why I'll just keep hanging up.
Okay, so here's what I want to know. At this point, it's starting to sound like you're being scammed because I'm not going to say Google's a perfect company. It's certainly not. There are all kinds of things to criticize about Google, but there's definitely a chance that somebody who is not Google is calling you and saying, hey, why don't you pay us and we'll make sure that your information's verified. I mean, that sounds really scammy to me. Like, how do you know it's Google?
I must say I haven't, of knowing all the people I know that are in business.
I know, because sometimes some of the numbers actually reflect regular cell phone numbers from our area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these people with these computers, they can get any number they want.
Yeah. That sounds really shifty. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if you were to go through with this supposed verification process. It wouldn't surprise me if they asked for your username and password, or if they asked for your routing number or account number on your bank account.
Yeah, I just ignore them. They say they're going to mail something to the house, and then it's going to have a number, and I got to call in. I got to go through all this stuff.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I mean, maybe it is true, and maybe somebody else out there can say,
it's terrible.
Yeah, maybe it's true, and maybe somebody else out there can somehow verify this. But I think that these sound like phishing calls to me. That's just based on what you've said. That's the impression that I get from this. Mike, thanks for the call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you, and thanks for the heads up for other folks too. Because first of all, if it is Google, that's annoying. It's annoying of what they're doing to him, changing phone numbers and trying to reach him about this. That tactic sounds like a scam tactic, doesn't it?
It does. It's fishy.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. I will say that GoDaddy, for instance, I have a few websites, and they'd call me on a relatively regular basis just to say, "Hey, how's things going with your website?"
Do they really?
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to talk to you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
That makes sense. They've got salespeople, and they're likely identifying you, and they're identifying themselves. You could verify that with them. You could ask them for some verification, get a phone number, look up the number. You could verify that. And of course, either way, remember, you don't ever want to give a username and password out to anybody claiming to be from any company, even if you were expecting their call. I mean, it's generally very bad security. Generally, what they'll say is, our people will never ask you for your password. They have systems to allow you to log in and, if you forgot your password, verify those things. So if you've ever got somebody asking you for that stuff, it's a red flag, possible scam, likely scam. Likely you're just being phished. And that's what I bet's going on here. They probably have a boiler room full of scam artists whose job it is to try to collect money from people to supposedly update their profile, but really they're just trying to collect money from people and acting like they've done things. There was a story not too long ago about some guy who got arrested because he sent fake invoices to big companies like Google and Facebook.
Right, and got them paid.
And they're just like, pay that.
Yeah. Why would they not pay it?
We got an invoice. Got to pay it.
Right. We just pay invoices. The people at the accounting department, they can't possibly know.
How would they?
Everybody who paid, anything. As long as your invoice looked good enough, then you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, I remember, I don't recall the exact details of the article, but it was a lot of money. Like, he bilked him for couple $100,000 or more over some amount of time. And
see,
it's like, you got to stop at some point.
It's just not going to work that way.
Right.
If you'd have done it for $30,000 or $40,000 a year and just lived fine doing it,
got greedy.
No, but you want to go out and drink every night, and you wanted to party and have a nice car and do all that stuff, and it still not work. Sorry, man, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, well, it did work, but then the more you do it, the closer you get to getting busted.
It didn't.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And now, of course, I don't advocate engaging in fraud, but it is funny. I mean, you got to admit, it's pretty amusing that these big corporations, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and they're taking advantage of that. These scammers. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. If somebody claims to be from Google, I'd ask them to prove it. It's Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition of the program. You can dial in. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Don't forget about Liberty Stickers. If you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, you can do it from your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with the bumper sticker, and they love to read them. So check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages available to you at libertystickers.com. And yes, they do custom work. So you got a business, you got an event, or whatever it is you need to promote, as a bumper sticker, they can make them for you. LibertyStickers.com. That's where we got ours. Free Talk Live and LRN.FM bumper stickers. So if you want to test out the quality, you can go to promote.freetalklive.com. Our mailing address is right there, and you can send off a self-addressed stamped envelope. If you want Free Talk Live, just let us know. If you want LRN.FM or both, we'll put them both in there, no problem, and ship it right back to you. And you can find out the quality of the Liberty stickers and get yourself a Free Talk Live bumper sticker. LibertyStickers.com and promote.freetalklive.com. All right, back to your calls and thoughts here. Jake is on the line in Texas. Jake, where are you calling from in Texas?
I'm calling from northeast Texas, northeast of Amarillo.
Excellent. You're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, okay. So comment on the last caller with the whole Google thing.
Yeah.
I was getting inundated with phone calls from Microsoft, and they were telling me that my computer is going to crash and on and on and on. And I listened for, 18 minutes,
Jesus,
20 minutes before they were starting to edge towards, paying money.
Mm-hmm.
So I hung up on them. I got online, and I actually called the 800 number to Microsoft. And I went through the menu and got a hold of technical support, got a legitimate Microsoft person on the line, and told him my scenario. He said, Microsoft will never call you.
Right. Yep.
Google will never call you.
I tell you, if you have a problem with Google, you certainly can't call them.
You can't get them to call you. You sure as hell can't call them or get them to call you.
God help you if you have a problem with Facebook.
Which is fine. And the other point is, you mentioned something about GoDaddy. I have a very successful friend of mine that has a business. He actually went away from GoDaddy just because of the inundated phone calls, as you were mentioning. How's everything going? And I'm very, very, very skeptical of everything, and I just wanted to make that point. These companies typically will not call you. Microsoft is not going to call you, ask for money to help you fix your computer.
Right. How would Microsoft even know that your computer was going to crash?
It's just a word that means computer to people.
Once again, and no offense, they're mostly East Indian and or a foreign language. And the first thing the technical person told me is, we don't call you. And if you don't mind me asking, sir, what was the person's ethnicity? I said, well, it certainly wasn't American, no offense. And he said, well, you're being scammed. And we hear this all of the time.
I bet they do.
So, anyways, that's all I wanted to drop.
Thank you, Jake.
There.
I appreciate you calling in and backing me up on that, because oh, my God, this is a scam.
Man.
Do not give them your information. They're going to want your routing number. They're going to want your account number, and then it's going to get real bad for you. So, they don't call. They don't. And this happens, too, with like the cryptocurrency world, where you'll log into like Kraken.com, one of these crypto trading websites, and they have warnings up like, we don't have phone support. Like, it's not just about them calling you. It's about you thinking you're calling them.
Right. Somebody sends you an email and says, blah, blah, blah.
Or you Google it. You search for Kraken phone number, and then you get a number to a scammer.
Wow.
And then they answer the number, Kraken phone support, how can I help you?
Right. Inbound phone scams.
Yeah.
I got to say, I hadn't heard of this before.
Okay, sir, just give me your login information, and I will
whammo-bammo.
Take care of this for you.
And that's it. Oh, man.
Boom, all your Bitcoin gets traded and withdrawn, and you're done.
Yeah.
Can't get it back.
I suppose that could happen to Bank of America or something, too. Right?
Fake phone support, sure.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
If somebody could somehow get high enough on the
right.
Google responses, yeah.
All right, so we continue with your calls and thoughts. Larry, listening in Indianapolis to WIBC FM. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, on, boys.
Hey, Larry.
I would try to break the ice with a joke, but I won't do it, okay?
Oh, no, I want to hear it.
Okay, why did chicken lay his egg on the line?
I don't know.
Because he wanted to lay it on the line. Hey, you know what I'm still thinking about? I'm thinking about a sign that I have on the back of my truck, right? I have a glass rack on it. The sign says, would you take the mark of the beast to keep your iPhone? Most people have given a thumbs up, and now I'm changing it this week would you worship the devil and sacrifice them to keep your iPhone?
Now, wait a minute. Do you think that the people giving you thumbs up are giving you the thumbs up because they would indeed sell their soul for an iPhone? Or are they giving you a thumbs up because they think that it's a really smart sign and they're congratulating you for having it?
I feel like it's...
But I was at the State House, right? And there was a group of high schoolers. They was all dolled up like the rappers and everything. All of them had iPhones. I went by with the sign. I said, would you take the mark of the beast to keep your iPhone? And they admitted that they would take the mark of the beast. They say, where do we have to go to get it? Because I was in an AT&T store, right? It was closing, and there was looked like the zombies from the Night of the Dead or something coming to get their iPhones. People will take the mark of the beast or anything else to keep their iPhone. And the more brutal question is to tell them they would worship the devil and sacrifice all their time and their money to the iPhone to keep it. And even if they offered them a regular flip phone where they could keep in communication, they would still sell their soul to the devil to keep their iPhone.
People do love their technology.
So since I have an Android phone, am I going to heaven?
Well, you're not going to heaven, but the problem is when you lose it and it goes down for a certain period of time, then your whole attitude changes. It's an emotional roller coaster ride for most people I see that are on them. I know I tried to have an iPhone, and I end up not having it because it's nothing but a waste of time. And
it can certainly lead to that. There's no doubt about it, Larry. But they can also be productive. I mean, you can also...
Praise God.
Okay. Larry,
I'm laughing at you guys.
Bye-bye. All right. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. But these are tools. They're technological tools that are very, very powerful. The iPhone, the Android phones of these days are very, very powerful. They're many times more powerful than computers from a decade ago. You can now basically put something that's more powerful than a computer you had a decade ago, a full-size desktop computer in your pocket.
Right.
And, of course, the Internet connections allow you to have the access to all the world's knowledge, at your fingertips.
Right. It's basically a superpower in so much as if you knew all the facts that you could find out within 5 minutes of Googling, if you knew them immediately and you knew them 15 or 20 years ago, you'd have been considered the smartest person on the planet.
But there's a bunch of dumb things that can be done with these phones, a bunch of time-wasting things.
Right, you can just hang on every word that's posted on your Instagram account. You can
play endless, mindless games.
Yep, you can spend your whole time playing games.
Which, everybody's going to die someday, and we're all just burning time until that time. Right. So what does it matter whether you're playing, what's the Candy Crush? Is that what it's called that everybody's into?
It used
Farmville,
to be.
I think I've heard
used to be a thing, yeah.
What does it matter whether you're doing that or watching football? What's the difference? People should be able to do whatever they want with their stuff. Now, I think that there are some legitimate critiques of folks using their phones too much, and certainly there's legitimate critique of losing situational awareness when you're on these things. I mean, I remember when we were in Acapulco, there was literally holes in the street. So if you weren't paying attention, if you're like just meandering around on your phone, there you go. You just broke your legs. Yeah. Have a nice day. And so there's that. And then Vincent was telling me today he was at some event at the college, and there was a security guard there who was standing in the corner on his phone the entire time, paying zero attention to what was actually going on.
Everybody's safe.
More coming up here. 855 450 free, like freedom. Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
As we continue, we will take your calls about what you want. Back to the phones and to the fun. We go to Jerry, listening in Charleston, West Virginia, to WVTS. Go ahead, Jerry.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, if I were king, I would ban all smartphones to everyone in the world except for emergency services and business people. The rest of the world, I would allow flip phones that could not text, because this country is going down the tube so fast by this so-called miracle invention that I'm afraid it's going to do this country in. Let me give you an example of just the physical issues. I watch people, I've watched them for years, and the people have to work with their hands. For instance, 2 weeks ago, I saw two of our garbage men picking up garbage on a neighbor's street.
Mm-hmm.
One man was on a cell phone. He had his phone up to his ear. He's picking up one bag at a time with the other hand.
That's not very efficient.
The other garbage man who did not have a cell phone was picking up two bags at a time.
Right.
I've seen people throwing mulch out, working for whomever, putting down mulch, phone up to the ear on one hand, dipping one hand into the bag of mulch and spreading it with one hand.
I can't even imagine 50%. This is, I mean, for the cost of a Bluetooth headset, I mean, you get a wired headset and still solve this problem.
These people are not going to do that. Do you know, I could tell you how many wrecks I've seen personally with my own eyes sitting at stoplight while somebody slams into the person next to me because they were on a cell phone.
Sure. It's I'm a firefighter, and we, anecdotally, the firefighters say that we're having more motor vehicle accidents, single motor vehicle accidents and motor vehicle accidents caused by phones than we ever did before.
Well, I'm a retired captain from the fire department, and I'm telling you, the insurance companies, the first place they look in an accident, especially a serious accident, is to see who was on their stupid phone during that time.
Yep.
And I think why would the average person need a smartphone? Give me one reason why the average person needs a smartphone.
I don't have an answer for you. I mean, I can tell you that I have certainly used it to, look some things up that I've found useful, but I would say the majority of the time that the functionality of a flip phone would serve me 90+% of the time.
Exactly, and some people say, it's got GPS and all this. Well, you can buy a GPS. I use a GPS. It's not a phone, And there's
it's easier to update the GPS. So, like, the GPS on my phone is going to automatically update because it's plugged into, it's talking to the cell phone tower. So I guess I've got a GPS that is at least 12 years old. Yep.
And it takes me everywhere I want to go.
It's going to, yeah.
Right. I mean, if a road's been closed, you're probably not going to know about it, but otherwise it's going to be mostly fine.
I walk into offices, and it seems like half of the people in the office are talking on their cell phone. It's not business.
Well, we're lucky that they're talking, honestly.
A lot of times they don't talk. The millennials, for instance, don't.
You're right. People that are younger than 35, the news stories are coming out that basically they're terrified of the notion of talking on a phone. And
they'll never take a call. They'll always let it go to voicemail.
If you're lucky if you get one of them on the phone.
The worst part about the smartphone and some flip phones, if you want to read that tiny, is the texting. What in the world is going on where human beings type with their thumbs?
Yeah.
Are we going back to the ape age or what? You got to be kidding me.
Jerry,
why can't you make a telephone call that takes you, half a minute or sit there and text for 5 minutes? Especially while you're driving, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There are certainly times that sending a text is a superior form of communication.
If you're in a meeting or something, right? You have to get a message
most
out.
of the time, it seems like a phone call fixes it. I recently had a situation where I was dealing with, in a group chat, and basically some people were getting upset, as they tend to when they read things, as opposed to a quick phone conversation where somebody can hear the tone of your voice, and
all the subtlety gets stripped away.
It changes everything.
Yeah. Good call, Jerry.
Well,
thanks for sharing with us tonight. I definitely appreciate it. Toll-free number here. I should have asked him what kind of phone he was on. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Charlie is
What else would it be? I mean, at this point, most of America
still have flip phones.
Half of America has a smartphone.
I've seen somebody with a flip phone within the most.
They exist.
Only half? Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Charlie.
All right, here we go.
You're on Free Talk Live. Hello.
Oh, thanks for accepting my call.
Yeah, that's what we do. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that's a different topic over here. I just want to talk about how you get pulled over for no reason because the state police computer generated computer pulls up your license plate and says you have a suspended license.
Oh, boy.
And insurance.
That's frustrating. I suspect that happened to you?
Yeah, in fact, it's happened to me twice. Let me tell you what happened the first time.
Okay.
Here now in Bogota, New Mexico, where all the immigrants are running to or being allowed to go to. I was pulled over one evening for no reason, no probable cause or anything. I committed no traffic violations. So I pulled over, and he gets out. I asked him what was the problem, what infraction was committed.
Before you go on, I'd like to ask, are you a brown person?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
Because sometimes the cops will just pull you over for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Right. No, but I do have a Yukon Denali that I have all, decked out.
So you got a fancy ride, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you deal drugs?
Yes, sir. Huh?
Do you deal drugs?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, sir. I sure don't.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead with
That's what I would say if I dealt drugs.
There's nothing wrong with dealing drugs.
Teasing him.
If that was the case, I wouldn't have called you.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead. You get pulled over.
Okay. Yeah, I get pulled over and asked him what was the infraction that I committed to get pulled over with. What was the justification for it? And he told me just that. He says, my computer pulls up your license plate automatically, and it tells us that your license is suspended because no insurance or something. I said, okay, that was no probable cause to pull me over. I'm only traveling as my right to say I can down the road. I don't work commerce. I'm not working for business, and therefore I shouldn't need that legally to travel down the road, minding my own business, enjoying the evening. And,
if only those explanations worked. I love the idea of freedom to travel, and I understand what it is that you're saying. Unfortunately, I suspect it did not persuade him. What happened?
Okay, well, I even showed him the paperwork where it states the law and everything else, and how I then requested for his bond.
Okay.
Because every officer, every law enforcement person that's there to protect us doesn't only have to go to get his certification of as an officer to wherever they go to for training. I said, no, you also need your bond by the state to even wear that badge and to protect we the people. He didn't know what I was talking about.
Nope.
Because the only thing I had to do was go to the academy, and that's it. I said, no, sir, you did not. So once I left there, I went to the courthouse the next
Hold on,
day.
did he ticket you?
Yes, he did.
Okay, but you didn't get arrested for driving while suspended, because that'll get you arrested, I think, here in New Hampshire in a lot of cases.
Okay, no, over here, I refused to sign the ticket. I didn't even sign the ticket, and that is just cause enough to have me arrested, but he didn't do that.
Okay, all right.
And then I went and I got a motion from the courthouse before I was, had to go over there and go in front of the judge before this time. So I filed a motion, I entered to have his bond, which is like a FOIA, to present it to me. That way I know he has standing to even approach me and to fight me for whatever it was he said I did, which is a statute, not a law. Statutes are different from the law. And he had none, apparently. I didn't get nothing in the mail, which I was supposed to get before the court date. He didn't even show up. In fact, the judge that was supposed to see the case, he recused himself because he knows that I know what they know, which is the law. Plain and simple.
So, just to be clear, the cop didn't show up to trial. You got the case dismissed because of that, right?
With prejudice.
Very nice. Nice job.
And it just happened again, though. Not in this city, but I was coming back from Colorado. I took some coins to get graded at Annex, and I get pulled by a state police officer. He passes me, slows down. I pass in. I pull into McDonald's. He stops his lights on and tells me the same thing. Now, I'm paying on my truck, okay? I made payments on my truck. It's almost paid off. And so, therefore,
I want to hear the rest of this story. Hang on. We're going to continue with you here, Charlie. He got away with the first one. What about the second one? Because it doesn't sound like he actually unsuspended the license between the two. 855-450, free if you want to join us. Hour 2's next. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And speaking of calling, we haven't even gotten into the story yet about the FCC fining robocallers $208 million and only collecting less than $6,800. We'll tell you more about it. But Charlie is still on the line with us here, and we will take your calls about anything. Charlie wanted to regale us with a tale of driving while license suspended and getting away with it the first time because the cop didn't show up to court. Now, from what Charlie's been saying in his call so far, he appears to be one of the freedom to travel advocates, folks who... And I'm with you on this, Charlie. I love the idea of freedom to travel. It's just it usually is not a sustainable thing to do for a lot of people because they end up getting, ticketed and arrested and harassed by the police over this. But that said, we've got a co-host named Jay Noon who's been doing it his whole life. So it is definitely possible to do what you're talking about. So you got busted for driving while license suspended. The cop let you go. You went to court. The cop didn't show up, so therefore you got the case dismissed with prejudice, which is what you should do if you take a case to trial and the cop doesn't show up, is motion to dismiss because their witness against you isn't there, so they should throw the case out. And that's what happened. But then you said you got popped again by a state trooper coming back from Colorado, and that's what you were going to tell us about.
Yes, it was a state police officer the first time also. And the thing is, I'm not claiming to be a sovereign person or, even though this state's supposed to be a sovereign state, I'm not claiming to be nothing like that because I see them all get their butts kicked because they take it too far.
Mm-hmm.
But, I didn't have no insurance also. But the thing is, like I was saying, when I was talking about Colorado, I'm making payments on my vehicle. And on that contract, as you're making payments, a lot of people don't know this, is that if you fail to show or provide insurance from a separate entity, they will tax you or charge you on your account from your payment for the insurance of that truck for basic insurance or collateral. Damage.
Right. So the bank that holds the loan wants to make sure that you're insured, basically. Makes sense.
You're paying it anyways. Yeah. The thing is, you're paying it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they try to tell me that it's not recognizable, though, by, out in the real world, when you're driving a real truck and a real cop pulls you over, that you have to have some other kind of insurance because ours ain't real. I proved them wrong. And now I'm going to have to do it all over again. I'm going to have to go back and ask for Mr. Gonzalez's FOIA for his bond, see how if he's bonded by the state to even perform the duties he's doing for the people.
So you said you asked the court for that information, this bond, because this is one of those theories that I've heard.
The judge.
That I've heard about.
The judge, and the judge that was going to preside over this case, he don't even have his bond.
Okay, so just to be clear, you asked the judge for his bond, meaning the judge's bond, and you'd asked for the police officer's bond as well.
Yes, sir. And by law, by federal law, by Foreign Exchange Act, they are give it to you on the spot. And if they do not have it, they have no right being in the civic position that they are in, that we the people put them there.
I wish we had Jay Noon on the show tonight.
Just so you know, we the people didn't put him anywhere.
Yeah, they did it to us.
Yeah, I know that. I understand that, but the same responsibility falls on the shoulders of the state. Therefore, they are supposed to have a bond. Yep. They are supposed to provide it because if they get us hurt on accident or for whatever reason, they are responsible.
So do you believe that these people are not bonded, or that they are bonded and there's something wrong and they just don't want to show it?
They are not. And then when they go back and ask the supervisor about it, they just say, just blow it off. Let it go. Let it go. Don't even show up to court.
Interesting.
Because I asked for it. And if they cannot provide it, guess what? This will be it'll be public notice. Therefore, if I show up in court and he shows up in court and he does not have what I'm asking for, it is a federal offense.
Wow. It sounds like you might have him on this one. When's your next court date?
I have to go present myself in front of the judge in Las Vegas, New Mexico, by the 13th.
So is this far from your house or close?
It's on the way to Colorado, which I have to go back to pick up coins. So I don't have a problem with that. So I have to mail in this motion from where I'm at. It's about 2 hour drive from here, 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's never
the
convenient.
thing for me is that, most of these things are just silly little fines that it's a lot cheaper to send them, $50,
they know that.
$100, $200
than to drive 4 hours round trip.
No, not over here. Not over here. They said you are supposed to show up in court.
Okay.
There's no sending a fine or anything like that.
I see.
But not only that, I mean, as rights as a person of this great country of ours so far, I know what the law is. I mean, I go by law, follow the law. I do not steal from nobody. I do not hurt nobody, and I have no plans to at all. But everything else is a statute in this great nation. It's a statute. It is a commerce. The police department is a commerce. It is a business, just like a Walmart.
But it's not just like a Walmart, because they'll send men with guns after you if you don't pay them.
Walmart has guns.
No, I mean, they have guns in stock, but they don't send. If I don't go to Walmart, I don't have Walmart employees showing up on my front doorstep, pounding on my door and bashing the door in.
The police claim to be a monopoly. So if whatever town you live in.
Let me give you another example of that, okay? As a corporate, commerce, corporate, what have you, as a local city police and Walmart go hand in hand. Let me tell you how the police here are more than willing to violate the law and just have you arrested because Walmart said go ahead. Now, this is a case of a person going into Walmart accused of shoplifting, which he did not, and he actually paid for those items. Now, it wasn't even over here. The law is over $500 of alleged stolen merchandise. You are to be arrested over that amount if it's been stolen.
Is that a felony in New Mexico? 500?
Yeah. Other than that, you're supposed to be ticketed and set free and given a court date, right? Mm-hmm. Over here, they arrest you. The cop asked Walmart from loss prevention, "What do you want us to do?" She pulls him aside and says, "I want him arrested because he stole the day before that too." And we didn't catch him doing it, but we know he did it. Mm-hmm. And they arrest the person, and not for the amount of the total they arrest him for isn't even enough to write down as a felony. It's a misdemeanor.
But if this person doesn't know their rights, they don't know the law, they don't have an attorney, they're just going to get railroaded through the system. Charlie, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Feel free to update us on your court date as it comes up. I'm fascinated by that approach, this whole bond thing. It's one of those theories I've heard about vaguely over the years. I've never really researched how to go about asking for a bond. I don't even know what it would look like if I received one of them.
It's an insurance instrument, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Basically.
More or less. But speaking of this public-private partnership he was talking about here with the cops and Walmart, a friend was telling me last night when they were in Camp Lejeune down in I think
it's military, right?
Military base. I think it's North Carolina. Might be South Carolina. I'm not 100%. Sorry, Marines. I don't remember. I went through there on a boat, but I don't know where I was.
Gotcha.
Anyway, basically if you got some furniture from Rent-A-Center or whatever.
Bad idea. Don't do that.
Regardless, if you did, and you weren't paying your bill, Rent-A-Center would call the master sergeant. The master sergeant would kind of haze you about your bill to get it paid because they've had, more or less, people in the military are more likely to use things like Rent-A-Center because they don't need the furniture for very long. They don't want to buy furniture
and then have to sell it.
Furniture and things like that. So they're more likely to rent furniture.
Interesting.
And if you're not paying your bill, then they've got the numbers for the appropriate people, and those people are they're going to keep their people in line. So
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. I mean, if you're not paying your bill, and whoever it is that you owe ought to do whatever they need to do to get the money.
Yeah, but the government shouldn't be stepping in to do that, regardless.
Yeah, but Rent-A-Center probably can't easily get onto a military base in order to repo the stuff.
They can have off-base housing, too.
Sure, but there's a lot of people that live on a military base, as I understand it, and there's a damn fence with barbed wire around that thing. How do you send your repo men in there if they don't have the clearance? They can't get in. So
I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with calling up your buddy who happens to be the landlord in this case in the military. They're running that facility and saying, "Hey, one of your dudes is screwing us over." There's nothing wrong with that. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Plus, coming up, speaking of money, the FCC collecting only just under $6,800 of $208 million in fines to those robocallers that everyone hates. It's Free Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free, bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
So we go back to your calls and thoughts, and then maybe, hopefully, we'll get to the story about the robocallers and the fines that have been failed. The federal government has failed to collect for the most part. Let's go first, though, to Bob, listening in Indianapolis to WIBC-FM. Hello, Bob.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, real quick, I want your opinion on the stand your ground laws. In some states, they have a stand your ground law.
You mean the law that allows a person legally to defend themselves where they're at when attacked by somebody, say, for instance, in their own home or, at their car, as they're getting back into their car in a parking lot or something like that, just to where you don't have to retreat legally? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I support that.
Anywhere. I don't care if it's in church or at the Walmart or a grocery store or a bar.
Yeah.
But real quick.
I support it. Mark, do you support it?
I support it when it's enforced. We're getting both of our opinions here. Ian says he supports it. I support it when it is enforced fairly and equitably, and everybody is treated justly under the law.
Yes. Well, real quick, I was assaulted verbally, not physically, verbally at a bar, my local tavern. I go to every week for karaoke.
All right.
It's 3 blocks from my house. I'm not some stranger. Anyway, I ended up, smack talking another guy that started it with me. Smack talk. That's all it was, verbal.
Yep.
I get the cops called on me. I get thrown in jail and charged with disorderly conduct, criminal trespassing, resisting arrest, and public intoxication inside of a bar.
Jesus.
Were you asked to leave?
Yeah.
Did you leave?
After they threw him out, I tried to sing a Tom Petty song on karaoke. I tried to sing Tom Petty's
Which
Stand
one?
Your Ground song.
Oh, yeah.
And the bartender threw me out because I was trying to sing Tom Petty's Stand Your Ground song. And I got thrown in jail. But anyway.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Just to be clear. Hold on. So the bar, somebody from the bar, an employee of the bar, asked you to leave and you stayed.
No, she let me stay. She threw the guy out that started to fight with me, assaulting me verbally.
Yeah.
Not physically, verbally. She threw him out, and then a half hour later, I get up there to try to sing Tom Petty as a victory lap.
Yeah.
But she didn't like it.
Right.
And then she throws me out and calls the police on me because I'm trying to sing a Tom Petty song.
Well,
haven't you told us this story before? It sounds really familiar.
It's funny.
Well, it's a similar situation. 2 years ago, I was walking home from the same freaking bar, which I'm an idiot for going to.
I was going to say, maybe you should find a different bar.
It is only 3 blocks from the house.
It doesn't seem like this bartender really gets along with you.
No, we're cool now. But it's just a weird situation. It's like a Twilight Zone episode. That we explain the stand your ground law to people, and even though there is a
this doesn't have to do with stand your ground, does it? Isn't stand your ground about defending yourself with a gun, or is it just defending yourself in any means whatsoever?
Probably physically defending yourself.
No, all I did was verbally stand my ground. I got thrown in jail and charged with 4 charges.
So okay, it was disorderly conduct. What were the charges? Disorderly conduct, and what else?
Criminal trespassing,
yeah.
Disorderly conduct, public intox inside of a bar, public intoxication, and resisting arrest.
And what did you do about those charges? I mean, did you take a guilty plea? You're fighting, okay. All right.
I tried to plead guilty yesterday, or a couple of days ago, and the judge got pissed off at me because I tried to explain my situation. He got pissed off and tore up my plea agreement for public intox, and now I got to go to bench trial in front of his ass next week.
Man.
Well, that should be a lot of fun.
This country's a joke.
Yeah, it's...
thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Bob, and I'm sorry that happened to you, although it sounds like a confusing situation. Thanks for the call. I mean, we only have his side of the story. Who knows what the bartender would say?
Yeah,
right?
Well, I mean, it appears as though the problem is public intoxication.
That usually leads to other problems.
But, that's a crime without a victim. I mean,
right.
Honestly...
However, criminal trespass is a legitimate charge if you've been asked to leave.
If you've been asked
somewhere.
to leave, it's time to go.
Right. If someone who's authorized to ask you to leave a premises asks you to leave and you do not, you are guilty of criminal trespass at that point.
The question really is how long do you have to sort of legitimately leave?
Well, I mean, if you have a bag on the other side of the bar, you should be able to retrieve your bag and then immediately leave.
There's a reasonable amount of time, but
if you begin leaving when you're asked to leave, then you can argue that you were leaving. That's why I love what Dave Ridley, actually was our first caller of the show tonight. Whenever he's told to leave somewhere, he always just starts backing out slowly. So he's leaving, just kind of taking his sweet time doing it.
I mean, in a theoretical sense, you're leaving any place that you've arrived at which you have arrived, right? Like at some point or another, you expect to leave that place.
Yeah, but you're not leaving until you make an effort to actually leave.
No, you're leaving.
You're not leaving when you're sitting down having a drink at a bar. That's a ridiculous claim.
I'll leave when I'm done with my drink.
No, I don't think it works that way. If you've been told to leave, you got to leave right then if you want to avoid criminal charges. Look, I know you want to sing Tom Petty, but there's other times for karaoke, man. I love a good karaoke. I miss doing karaoke because I work Thursdays now, so I don't get to do it anymore. I just saw the karaoke jock just today, actually, here in Keene.
We can work something out, buddy.
You really want to work Thursdays?
No. That's my jiu-jitsu night, man.
Yeah. I thought Tuesday was your jiu-jitsu night.
I could move it, but I prefer Thursdays.
Anyway, toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. The FCC, here's a story from Fox. America's telecommunications watchdogs have levied hefty financial penalties against illegal robocallers and demanded that bad actors repay millions to their victims. But years later, little money has been collected. Yes, that's right. This is what happens when you look to the government to protect you from those mean old robocallers.
Surprise, surprise.
That's right. Their job is to protect you, isn't it? That's what the presidents have been saying. Barack Obama, George Bush. Yeah. They, love to take to the podium to talk about how it's their job to protect you. But yet, since 2015, the Federal Communications Commission has ordered violators of the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, a law governing telemarketing and robo-dialing, to pay $208.4 million since 2015. That's only 4 years of fines. That sum includes so-called forfeiture orders in cases involving robocalling.
Fines that you don't have to pay aren't a disincentive.
Do not call registry and telephone solicitation violations. So far, the government has collected $6,790 of that amount, according to records obtained by the Wall Street Journal through a Freedom of Information Act request. The total amount of money secured by the FTC through court judgments involving cases involving civil penalties for robocalls and national do-not-call registry-related violations, plus the sum requested for consumer redress in fraud-related cases, is $1.5 billion since 2004. So you go all the way back to the beginning of the Do Not Call registry.
Keeps adding up.
Take a guess at how much of the $1.5 billion they have collected.
Less than 1%.
121 million. So a little bit. That's more. Is that 10%? 10%? Not quite.
100 million is 10% of a billion.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Just under 10%.
Well, they were doing better back in the day. Now they're failing.
The toll-free number here is, they were still failing, but 855-450-FREE. And, of course, everybody still gets a damn robocall. So what's the point of this again?
Because there's no penalty.
There is a penalty. They're just not paying it.
Right.
More coming up.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Free Talk Live. You are invited. Join us here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Talking about the abject failure of the federal government to collect on the fines that they've been issuing to the robocallers in just the last 4 years. $208.4 million in fines issued. Collected under $6,800 of that. Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin Cash related. Bitcoin.com can help you choose a Bitcoin Cash wallet, buy Bitcoin Cash, and show you where you can spend your Bitcoin Cash. You can also read the latest news or engage with the community on the Bitcoin forum over at Bitcoin.com. And they've got the Bitcoin Academy there as well. Bitcoin.com, or the Bitcoin Cash Academy.
If you haven't taken the Bitcoin Cash Academy, just go and check it out. Bitcoin.com.
It's actually easiest to just go to academy.bitcoin.com because there's a lot at bitcoin.com.
There's up in the upper left-hand corner. If you're on a regular computer screen, it will be.
Is there a link there?
There's like a get started or start here.
Okay,
link,
perfect.
It's pretty good.
All right, so we're talking about the failure of the federal government, the Federal Communications Commission, and FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, issuing since 2004 over $1.5 billion in fines, only collecting $121 million of it. Purportedly, these fines are supposed to go to victims, but I don't know. Have you ever gotten $1? I mean, have you ever got? Did the federal government ever cut you a check?
They don't seem to care. No.
Right. So where's the money going exactly? If they're collecting $121 million over the last 15 years, where's our cut? You're not going to get any money out of these people.
No,
the money's going to the federal government, and it's staying with the federal government. The agency operates the Do Not Call registry and regulates telemarketing. Mr. Barlow, who is some agent of theirs, the coordinator of the Do Not Call program, says, quote, "That number stands on its own. We're proud of it. We think our enforcement program is pretty strong." He's referring to the $121 million out of the $1.5 billion.
Yes.
An FCC spokesbureaucrat said his agency lacks the authority to enforce the forfeiture orders that it issues and has passed all unpaid penalties to the Justice Department, which has the power to collect the fines.
But isn't going to.
Many of the spoofers and robocallers the agency tries to punish are individuals and small operators, he added, meaning at times they are unable to pay the full penalties. FCC spokesbureaucrat said, quote, "Fines serve to penalize bad conduct and deter future misconduct, but it doesn't deter anything, it seems, if they aren't having to pay them." And I'm not saying that I really care. I'd rather the government not be involved in the robocall enforcement because clearly it doesn't work. Well, I think we predicted that it wasn't going to work when they first came out with this because we've been on the air ever since this stuff came about. We started this show in 2002, and
it shows it stands there as a very clear testament that the government is bad at the things that it does.
That's what I'm saying.
It declares itself our protector, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is an area where you basically have no control when it comes to this. You can't. They spoof local numbers.
They do. Yep.
And
you can keep blocking them, and they just keep coming in
more and more. Right? You can't block the number because they'll just call from another number. There's no good way to, if you wait a few minutes and then listen to their spiel and then push 2 to be taken off the list. No, never. It never.
Then they know you're. Then the theory is that if you do that, and I've tried doing that in the past.
Yeah.
That first of all, half the time there's just like a rude hang up. They never actually acknowledge, "We'll remove you from." No, it's just click.
Right.
You're done. But the theory is that if you press a button, they know you're there, and then they'll call you even more often.
Right.
Or they'll sell your number as a number where someone's there, right?
At the very least, right. Whether I'm going to take their, do anything about my car's warranty or, handle, do whatever it is about pain management or whatever it is that they're sending me. At the very least, they know that they can call me about the next stupid thing.
You listened long enough to respond.
Right.
You pressed a button, unlike people that just hang up or don't answer at all. So that makes you more valuable as a prospect, even though you didn't buy anything.
Right. Google has a system where you can, force people to tell their name before they get on the line with
Google Voice.
But in the process, you're losing calls, and it's kind of a pain, honestly.
He says, let's see, the dearth of financial penalties collected by the U.S. government for violations of, this is Fox News, for violations of telemarketing and auto-dialing rules shows the limits the sister regulations face in putting a stop to illegal robocalls. It also shows why the threat of large fines can fail to deter bad actors. Quote, it's great we have these laws. It's great we have the public enforcement. But because there are so many calls and so many callers, public enforcement's a joke, says Margaret Saunders, senior counsel at consumer advocacy group, the National Consumer Law Center. She further says it doesn't even make a dent. So then why is it great that you have the laws? What good are they doing? You've got these bureaucrats sitting there issuing fines. So what are you paying these bureaucrats to do? I mean, they're getting full salaries to sit there and issue out these fines, and they don't actually get to collect them. And even if they were to try to collect them, it would then cost the taxpayers to attempt to collect, because then you're having the prosecutors or whoever from the Justice Department focus their time on those cases rather than focusing their time on other cases. So, in order to handle all the cases, you got to hire more prosecutors. So all this does is make the government bigger. That's all it accomplishes.
The best you can do is, if you have a phone service that allows you to report spam, that's about all you can do.
Yeah, so Google does have that in their system now. They didn't used to, but now, at least on my phone these days, I can press on a call that had come in and report it as a spam call.
Right.
But
if you make outgoing calls on the cell phone, then they're going to get the cell phone's number.
Mm-hmm.
You call into one of these places, somehow or another they get you, they get your number, and then you
get sold on a list.
Right.
There were 26.3 billion unwanted robocalls made to U.S. phones U.S. mobile phones specifically in 2018 by one measure from robocall blocking app Hiya. Apparently there's an app for that. Another company that offers such services, Umail Incorporated, puts the number of unwanted and illegal robocalls made in the U.S. last year even higher at nearly 48 billion. That's a lot of calling. So just wanted to share that because it was, yet another example of the government completely failing to do something that you'd think the government could do. Threaten people, and intimidate them into obedience. Turns out, nope.
No.
Turns out they got nothing. Almost nothing of the amount of money that they have issued in fines.
Right. Well, don't worry. If you don't pay your income tax, they're definitely going to come after you.
Well, may or may not. I wouldn't say they're definitely going to. There's millions of people who don't pay income tax, and they don't get come after.
It's true. Millions and millions.
And, of course, if the target has a lot of money, they're more likely to come after that target.
Sure. You don't want to waste your time on somebody who's broke.
They don't. Yeah, certainly. So the toll-free number here.
When you're doing collections, it's best to go after the people who are flush.
Exactly. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want here on Free Talk Live and take control of the airwaves. That's what we do. In other news, hackers, another sort of tech-related news, TechCrunch. This story was posted on our Discord chat rooms over on our news story show prep subheader. Hackers have published personal data on thousands of U.S. police officers and federal agents.
Oh, boy.
A hack group, and it's been a while since we've heard from some of these hack groups. Like, they used to get all the headlines. Remember Anonymous?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to them?
Yeah. Anonymous has kind of disappeared on us.
Hacker group has breached several FBI-affiliated websites and uploaded their contents to the public internet, including dozens of files containing the personal information of thousands of federal agents and law enforcement officers. TechCrunch has learned the hackers
they don't like that.
Breached 3 sites associated with the FBI's National Academy Association, a coalition of different chapters across the U.S. promoting federal and law enforcement leadership and training located at the FBI Training Academy in Quantico, Virginia. I remember talking to a police chief in this area who had gone to one of these training seminars. So basically they kind of import police from around the country, give them the FBI training, and then they send them back to their local departments. The hackers exploited flaws on at least 3 of the organization's chapter websites, which were not being named, or actually TechCrunch won't name them, and downloaded the contents of each web server. The hackers then put the data up for download on their own website, which they say they're also not naming or linking, given the sensitivity of the data. Well, I would like to know, personally, where this information is. We'll see if we can give you a little bit more about this, and you can share your thoughts on whatever's on your mind, whether it be robocalls, hackers, or whatever you want to discuss. You can take control of the airwaves here on our live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. Hop into one of those, and you'll get on the air with us here. You can talk about whatever happens to be on your mind. As we continue, I want you to know about AnyPay. They are the company that is the best at accepting or helping you accept cryptocurrency payments at your point of sale. If you got a real-life business, mom-and-pop brick-and-mortar store kind of place, and you want to take Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Dash or Zcash or others, you can do that easily by going to helpmetakebitcoin.com. They'll take you through the steps, and there aren't very many of them. Step 1, get a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency wallet like Edge Wallet, which is a great one. And then you sign up for an account over at helpmetakebitcoin.com. And that is easy. That's just username and password. There's no paperwork. Once you get in, which you're getting right in, you then put your crypto wallet addresses, your destination addresses that belong to you, that you'll get from your wallet into the back end over at helpmetakebitcoin.com. And then you load up their app on your iOS or Android device at your register. That's it. I mean, we're talking about minutes here, probably less than 20. Maybe less than 15. I mean, if your internet connection's slow, it might take you a little while to download a wallet app. But that's like the longest part of this process is downloading and installing your wallet. If you've already got a crypto wallet, then you're talking about
problem solved.
5 minutes to start accepting cryptocurrency at your point of sale. Get started at helpmetakebitcoin.com as we go to Sam calling us from Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hey,
Good
Sam.
show, man.
Thanks, dude. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to kind of lay in a little story there from, like, what you guys were talking about with Charlie about the right to travel.
Okay.
I got pulled over, and my license was suspended, but the police officer had followed me, and then he turned down a street, and I parked my truck, got out of my truck, was getting groceries out of the bed of it, and he all of a sudden pulled up on the other side of the street and asked me if my name was so-and-so, and I said, yes, it was.
Uh-oh.
And he told me to get back in my car. I'm like, no, well, why do I have to get back in my car? And he's just like, because I told you to.
No,
and
I don't follow orders.
Well, I was trying to comply and do everything because I didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
So he turned around, and all of a sudden he flipped on his lights. And I was sitting in the driver's seat, and he goes, you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, well, you didn't really pull me over. I was already here. And he goes, well, if you want to be a smart butt about it, he says, I can really push it down, but you have a suspended license. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realize this. And he goes, well, you need to step out of the truck now. So I got back out of the truck, and he goes, well, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm going to write you a ticket. I won't take you to jail, but I am going to take your truck. And I was like, dude, I said, I just ran to the grocery store and right back. I said, my wife's bedridden right now. She just got out of the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I just wanted to get some stuff. And he's just like, no, I'm sorry. He says, but, well, then I went to court over the deal. And I told the officer exactly what Charlie pretty much was saying, that, really it's my right to travel. And I think this is a bunch of crap. I said, because you can look at my record. I'm a clean person. I never got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And
why is your license suspended?
He started getting,
Why is your license suspended?
Because I forgot to pay a ticket.
Yep.
Okay.
That'll do it.
And that was the whole thing. And so I had talked to a friend of mine who is a lawyer, and he told me I should have told that police officer I'm not getting in this truck, because what he had done was he had turned around,
turned his
and
camera
flipped on his lights, and then his camera came on.
Yeah.
And then they had me sitting in the driver's seat.
Wow.
So just a warning to everybody out there. Yeah, I got hokey dokied really bad on that one.
Right. Yeah, you can't believe the police. I mean, they are just so dishonest. They're trained to lie in so many cases.
I don't know if they're dishonest, but they are certainly trained to lie. There's no cop who's going to call in tonight and say, we are not trained to lie. I mean,
well, they might. That would be telling a lie,
right?
Which they're allowed to do.
I mean, quite honestly, that's what they're trained to do.
If it allows them to make an arrest, they are completely within their rights to tell whatever lies they need to tell in order to arrest you.
Well, they're allowed to tell lies. So the public opinion of it is they're allowed to tell lies to get the truth, Right? So, like, nobody feels bad if you walk into the, two guys rob a bank, you got them in two separate rooms, you walk into the one room, and you say, oh, sorry, Sammy.
He gave you up.
Spike just rolled on you, right? And then turns out Spike hadn't rolled on him, but Sammy then tells the story.
Classic example.
Right, that's the classic example. However, in this circumstance where, the cop just didn't, there's no victim to this particular crime, the cop didn't catch the guy behind the wheel, he shows up, he gets him through subterfuge to get behind the wheel, or at least, I'm going to presume that the story, as it's been told, is true. Nobody's going to be really pleased that the police officer used dishonesty in order to arrest this guy. So that's a different story. This is just fundraising.
I told him what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
I went in front of the judge and I told him what had happened, and I explained my right to travel, and he took I'd never seen this happen, but he took like a 10-minute coffee break in the middle of just a misdemeanor whatever, and he came back and he goes, well, right now, he says, I don't think that we need to talk about this anymore. He says, I'm just going to head and throw it out of court. So I think Charlie was on to something, just like everybody else I've talked to about it out there.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and I just wish we had more evidence for the people that are, that advocate these alternative theories in court. I find them very interesting, but I find the lack of evidence to be frustrating. There's very little video, very little actual proof.
You got to have time, you got to have knowledge, and you got to have not too much to lose.
Yeah, that's true.
It's tough.
Sam, thanks for the call. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Hackers breached 3 FBI websites, which probably isn't that hard. Government's not known for its information security being particularly good. The coalition of different chapters across the U.S. that train law enforcement officers. Hackers exploited flaws on the sites, then put up the data for download. Spreadsheets contained 4,000 unique records after duplicates were removed, including member names, mix of personal and government email addresses, job titles, phone numbers, and their postal addresses. The FBI could not be reached for comment outside of business hours. In a statement Saturday, they said it was working with federal authorities to investigate the breach. Quote, we believe we have identified the 3 affected chapters and that have been hacked, and they are currently working on checking the breach with their data security authorities. TechCrunch spoke to one of the hackers who didn't identify his or her name through an encrypted chat late Friday. The hacker said, quote, we hacked more than 1,000 sites. Now we are structuring all the data, and soon they will be sold. I think something else will publish from the list. of hacked government sites. I'm not sure what that means.
Something else will publish from it.
We asked if the hacker was worried the files they put up for download would put federal agents and law enforcement at risk.
Oh, I'm sure they're quaking in their boots that might happen.
Probably yes, said the hacker. They don't care. The hacker claimed to have, quote, over 1 million data, unquote, on employees across several U.S. federal agencies and public service organizations. Unprompted, the hacker sent a link to another FBI-NAA chapter website that they claimed to have hacked. When we opened the page in a Tor browser, the website had been defaced, prominently displaying a screenshot of the encrypted chat from moments earlier. So just to prove that they how badass they are.
Got 'em.
They took the chat with the TechCrunch journalist, posted a screenshot of that chat on an FBI website within the time frame that they were having the chat.
Man,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they pwned them
just to prove.
By the way, these organizations are security organizations. Remember, that's what the Federal Bureau of Investigations does, is that it claims to secure your freedom. Right?
They can't even secure their own website.
They can't secure their own website.
Can't collect a dime on a $10 bill that they sent out for robocallers and the other federal agencies.
Right. This is, that's what it comes down to, is the United States federal government.
But you better pay them or else.
State governments, governments around the world all claim a monopoly privilege on security in a given geographic area. Sure, you can have security as long as it fits within the security that they allow, but you can't you can't choose to not employ them and to employ another service to secure you. So they've got a monopoly. These organizations can't secure themselves. Now, I'm not saying that that any big company can't get hacked. It certainly can, but well, it's the king. He has on no clothes.
The hacker, and here's the killer point, that they say they were more than 10. They number more than 10. Used public exploits. That means they didn't do their own hacking. They just downloaded exploits that other hackers have put together that have been available publicly for some amount of time. That means that many of the websites they targeted, the FBI's sites, were not up to date.
Right.
Meaning if you'd kept your WordPress blog up to date, you wouldn't have been subject to these easily obtainable public hacks.
Right.
But bureaucrats are lazy. Monopolies aren't known for, being on the ball. And so easy peasy. The hacker also provided evidence of other breached websites, including a subdomain from manufacturing giant Foxconn. So we'll see where this goes next. More coming up. Hour 3, you can take control on Free Talk Live.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you're invited here if you want to join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Let's see. We're going right into your phone calls and thoughts. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want to discuss. On the way here, though, we still have news about Trump and immigration. But first, it's Sean in McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania, listening to WEEO-FM. Hello, Sean.
How you doing?
Good. You're on the air.
Well, that smartphone, flip phone thing you guys did a minute ago.
Yeah, a gentleman called in and said that he would get rid of all the smartphones. By the way, 3 out of 4 Americans have a smartphone at this point.
75%.
And 95% have a cell phone.
Right. And I just changed over from a flip phone to a smartphone, which I call a dumb phone. And I had all kinds of problems with getting the internet on my phone and getting this thing to work right. And the reason I bought the smartphone was I could be mobile and have the internet because I don't have a PC. I don't have a computer.
Yep.
And I thought I could wind it all up and make it one thing where I could have a smartphone and be on the internet. And I bought a phone from it was called Essential Phones. And the Essential Phone Company started this company. He was the guy that invented the Pixel phone with Google.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, hell, I can't go wrong with that. I can't go wrong with that. And you know what? I've had more problems with this smartphone than I can even imagine.
Frustrating.
And basically, all we need to do is text or talk to each other. But I wanted to have the internet. And those flip phones don't have the internet pretty much like this phone did. And I spent $400 on this phone, and it was the worst $400 I ever spent in my life.
That's brutal. Sorry to hear about that.
Well, that's fine. I'm still fighting Amazon, and I'm still fighting the phone company that invented this phone.
It's so hard for me to justify spending that kind of money on a phone because they're so fragile, number one. Like, you see everybody with these damn cracked screens all over the place. I mean, they're so common. I always buy a nice case for my phone. That way, I've never actually had a cracked screen because I always put like $50 into a decent case. And I've never
makes a difference.
Yeah, I've dropped them plenty of times, and they've survived every single time.
And you buy those phone covers, and you buy the what do they call that?
I have no idea what
cover that goes over the top of that.
They have a screen protector. They have cases. The OtterBox is a good brand. They're not an advertiser, but they're great. Sean, thanks for the call tonight. I understand the frustrations that people have, especially when trying a new technology. It can be a little overwhelming. It can be a little confusing. There's so much these things can do. And
what bugs me is you can spend $1,000 on the newest, best,
and people do
technology out there.
People who can't afford to spend $1,000.
Well, yeah, they're fools. But you go to Walmart, you buy a laptop for $250.
Sure.
I mean, it's crazy that you can get this far more versatile machine.
Right, the laptop. Much more
laptop for, well, half the price.
I'd rather do everything on a laptop. I can't stand using a phone, even though I do, obviously, because, when you're on the road, it's a little more inconvenient to use a laptop. But I'd rather have my laptop with me and sit down and take a moment to use that, because I can hammer out an email a lot faster with two hands typing than I can on a damn phone.
The laptop's going to probably last you 5 years. The phone's going to probably last you two if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
$1,000 is crazy.
Right.
And I've heard they're even more than that.
It's just too much. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Get the one that's 1 or 2 generations older.
That's how I do it.
And you're fine.
Yeah. I go with something that's a couple years old at least, and then I usually try to get a refurb version of that. So that
I
way
don't
I'm
like
not
the refurbed ones, but
You've had bad experience?
I've had bad experiences.
Yeah, I guess I've been lucky because I've had all good experiences with refurbs. I've paid.
That for you.
I'll buy like $100 refurb phone, like whatever Galaxy S refurb costs $100.
Right.
That way if it breaks, it's like not the end of the world.
Right. If you drop it and it breaks, well, okay.
So there you go. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number.
Every time I've laid out for the big new phone, too, it's like, well, all right, I'll give you $500 for this thing.
Really?
Every time I've
always
done
regretted it?
I've always broken it. The ones that I can't break, the ones that like my mom gives me her old one or something, I can't break that one. But if I remember I bought a Galaxy Note 5, I think it was at some point a couple of years ago or
that
whatever.
Didn't last long, right?
Put it in the waterproof box to take it to the sailboat, and the waterproof box wasn't waterproof, so I made a little saltwater swimming pool for my phone.
What'd you do? Throw it in the ocean? Just to test it out?
The box?
Yeah.
No, well, when you
take on water or something? You're sinking?
The inflatable dinghies often will have water in the bottom of them.
Yeah.
And so no big deal.
You had it floating in one of those?
Well, that's where the box was, yes.
Oops.
And, it stayed in there a good long time, too. I got to soak it. Took it into one of those you break it, we fix it places. And so
he's like, I can't fix this.
Sure enough, you broke it, but we can't fix it.
Can't fix salt water, apparently.
Right. Well, I mean, they can't fix everything. It is possible to break a phone beyond repair.
Damn. So it said I had some news about Trump, and there's actually a little bit of good news before we get to the immigration story. This one I've been holding on to for a little bit. President Trump, according to the AP, tweeted recently he has reversed his administration's decision to slap new sanctions on North Korea, with his press secretary explaining the president, quote, likes leader Kim Jong-un and doesn't think their sanctions are necessary. It's unclear, however, which sanctions the president was referring to in his tweet, which took Treasury officials by surprise. Trump wrote from his private club in Palm Beach, Florida, quote, it was announced today by the U.S. Treasury that additional large-scale sanctions would be added to those already existing sanctions on North Korea. I have today ordered the withdrawal of those additional sanctions. And I think that this is a little bit of good news. The road with North Korea, the road to peace, has been a little rocky.
Yeah,
Their first meeting
going to be made better with more sanctions.
Right. Their first meeting went well last year, and the most recent meeting, it broke up unexpectedly. It broke up early. The two men did not come to an agreement. Basically, the North Korean side is saying the U.S. government wants too much. And the U.S. government, is saying that North Korea wasn't willing to, give up what they wanted, and so
they're not being honest. They're not being honest.
It was an impasse, but the good news is Trump is not putting more sanctions on North Korea. And any time that sanctions are avoided, I support that because I'm against sanctions. Sanctions hurt the people of a country.
Right. Kim Jong-un isn't going to lose any weight.
He's very well fed.
Over any of these sanctions.
Right.
There's nothing you're going to do to harm him.
He's going to be very comfortable.
Right.
He's got a palace and whatever other houses that he needs to have, and
it's the people of North Korea who are going to be harmed, and that's I mean, do they choose their leader? Only in so much as they all could get together and rise up, but you can't get. I mean, there are people that would like to rise up in North Korea, but
but they're surrounded by people who are obedient to the state and who might turn them in.
Right? Half of the United States population, probably a bit more, hates Trump, but he's going to stay in office.
Sure will.
And the same was true for Obama. So you don't get the government you deserve.
The White House didn't immediately respond to questions about which sanctions Trump was referring to or what large-scale sanctions were poised to be added to the existing ones already imposed on North Korea. His administration did sanction recently 2 Chinese shipping companies suspected of helping North Korea evade sanctions, the first targeted actions taken against Pyongyang since Trump and Kim met in Hanoi, Vietnam last month for negotiations about North Korea's nuclear weapons programs. And in regards to North Korea, there was another headline about Kim Jong-un today, basically sounding like he was willing to meet again with President Trump, but he wants the U.S. to soften their approach on this meeting. So maybe it'll happen again. Maybe progress will be made. At the very least, Trump can still claim to have been the only American president to have ever met with a so-called supreme leader from North Korea in the entire history of North Korea.
Well, it's a step forward.
It is. I'll still give him credit for that. There's more coming up here. 855, 450, free like freedom, and hope for more. It's Free Talk Live.
Property. Mark Warden can help.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the show. Open phones for you as always. You can dial in and take control of the airwaves at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Donald Trump says he's weighing sending a, quote, unlimited supply, unquote, of immigrants to sanctuary cities. Oh, that's us talking back to ourselves there.
I blame you.
855, yeah,
20 years in radio at this point. You're just more than 20 years. What, going on 25 years in radio, and you still can't operate a board
I don't
properly.
even know where it's coming from.
Well,
oh, I see it. There it is. It's live.
So Donald Trump is going to send the immigrants to the sanctuary cities. Well, it's clever.
I think it is pretty clever. Washington Reuters reporting here that Donald Trump said on Friday he was considering sending illegal immigrants in the country to so-called sanctuary cities, prompting U.S. mayors to accept such an offer as the battle over border security raged. Frustrated by rising numbers of undocumented immigrants arriving at the southern border and a failure to get Congress to fully fund a U.S.-Mexico border wall, Trump taunted Democrats by dangling the possibility of an influx of illegal immigrants to their communities. He wrote on Twitter, of course, quote, "Due to the fact that Democrats are unwilling to change our very dangerous immigration laws,
very dangerous,
we are indeed, as reported, giving strong consideration to placing illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities only." Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney responded in a statement saying that, quote, "While the Trump administration's proposal shows their disdain to basic human dignity, the city would be prepared to welcome these immigrants just as we have embraced our immigrant communities for decades." Trump was saying that he wanted to see the immigration procedure be made easier. He said that in recent months.
He wanted to make legal immigration easier to do.
Right.
And that makes some sense to me. I've always felt like there are parts of the United States which could benefit more than other parts. There are parts that
from an immigrant influx?
Yeah, if an immigrant influx. Like, how bad would it be at this point if those houses that are unoccupied in, say, Detroit were filled with people who are used to houses with leaky roofs or whatever,
right,
and then they could fix them and go to work and probably revitalize the whole place.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
That's a great idea.
In many cases, these are very hardworking people.
Yep.
I certainly don't support the giving of sort of free government programs to somebody who just comes here to not work or at all.
Right.
I don't think that any of these free government programs are a good idea at all.
Period.
But if you want my opinion on immigration, let anybody come. Make it illegal for them to access any government programs and make it illegal for them to vote. Hey, look. It's a second-class citizenship. Are you up for it? And I'll bet you they'd come in droves and make America great again for real.
Turn it into a land of opportunity again if they were free to do so.
Remember what the Statue of Liberty said? The reason that we
Give
don't
me your
like...
tired, your tempest-tossed, something like that.
You're
basically saying, give us your poor.
Yeah, and yearning to be free. These folks, if you don't have to pay for them, then they're not that big of a problem.
Right.
Sure, they can take some jobs, but in all likelihood, Americans aren't willing to do those jobs anyway.
That's what the evidence seems to suggest. All the times we've looked at, different situations where jobs are available and none of the folks from the, U.S. want them.
What's the worst case scenario? You could drive down the cost of labor and unskilled labor. I mean, it doesn't seem like a terrible thing to me. At some point or another, you'll come to an equilibrium.
So if he's serious about this, and he's just saying he's weighing it, we're considering this. I don't know how they would do it. Like, how would you implement a plan that only allowed illegal immigrants to go to specific cities? How do you pull that off? I mean, how do you identify? Or is it the ones that they've captured? Are they going to release them into the city and say, "Nope, you can't leave the city limits"? How do you keep them there? Number one.
Well,
but
if you just ship them there, that's where they'll stay.
Yeah, there's a good chance of it.
Yeah,
and I mean, this could be like a secretive way for Trump to kind of let people in, right? Like, okay, oh well, you guys want them, here you go. And then, because that's the claim, right, is we're being overwhelmed, where there's thousands of these people, they're coming through Mexico, there are thousands of them, they're coming in, and they're going to do terrible things. Of course, there's no real evidence that there's, any bad things that have, particularly come from
Well, sure, bad things come from illegal immigrants, but bad things come from American citizens too.
Well, right, but by no more like percentage than typical Americans. Right?
So the American Conservative magazine looked at it was difficult. It's difficult to determine who's illegal and who's not, but
sure.
they looked at the evidence as best they could to compare it, and they found that illegal immigrants, as they could tell, only commit crimes at a rate that Americans do. So they're nothing special.
But yet, the politicians who want you to be afraid of these people want you to believe there's terrorists lurking among them and a bunch of murderers and, rapists, and it's all about fear.
There are terrorists and murderers and rapists hiding among them.
Sure. Also within the police force.
Right. There's terrorists and murderers and rapists hiding within just about every group.
Right. In February, a federal appeals court said Trump's administration could not terminate federal grants to Philadelphia for its refusal to cooperate with immigration agents seeking to deport immigrants. In Chicago, Mayor Rahm Emanuel said in a statement, quote, "We would welcome these migrants with open arms, just as we welcome Syrian refugees, just as we welcome Puerto Ricans displaced by Hurricane Maria, and just as we welcome Rohingya refugees fleeing genocide in Myanmar." Sanctuary cities, according to Reuters, are local jurisdictions that generally give undocumented immigrants safe harbor by refusing to use their resources to help enforce federal immigration laws that could lead to deportations. And I support it.
I don't see any particular reason why a local municipality should have any obligation to enforce federal laws. They're not federal enforcement agency. Also, the federal government shouldn't have those enforcements anyway. There's only a few things listed in the Constitution, and one of them isn't immigration police.
Well, it could come along as part of an obligation like that. Could come along as part of the grants that they're talking about, saying, "Well, if you want to accept this money, then you have to do as we say."
That's how the government, through its ability to coin money, controls the states. Is basically, hey, they dangle these these carrots out in front of them, and the state does whatever they want.
Well, the funny thing is, there's a certain group of, let's call them conservatives out there, who on one hand would say they're in favor of states' rights, but on the other hand, they're against sanctuary cities or sanctuary counties or whatever. They're in favor purportedly of the primacy of the state versus the federal government. But when it comes to an issue that they're concerned with, then all of a sudden they want to cede everything to the federal government.
That's because generally Americans just want to get what they want. And
they have no principles.
How they go about getting it.
Right. Well, look, I got news for you.
If states actually had the powers to make these decisions, it's likely some of them would choose to have different rules on immigration than others would have.
Sure, and that's the way it ought to be. We ought to have 50 different states.
The Constitution talks about the United States government having the ability to, nationalize people, naturalization, which we're talking about citizenship and that kind of thing. But it doesn't really give it any power around immigration because at the time there was no conversation around immigration. No one really cared. Benjamin Franklin did hate the Germans in Pennsylvania, though.
Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whether you want to comment on sanctuary cities as far as immigration is concerned or whatever's on your mind, it is free.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the show. We do this thing every single night, all 7 nights a week. You're invited to join us here. It's Ian and Mark in the studio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There are a lot of cryptocurrency wallets out there in the marketplace. There's one that I use more than any other, and that's Edge Wallet. And I was using Edge Wallet before they became a sponsor, and I was using Edge Wallet as my primary wallet before they became a sponsor. So I was so glad when they did because I love talking about things I already love.
You're right. It's optimal for us in so much as it's difficult to find products that you already used before,
right?
That also want to advertise with you. And Edge Wallet is one of those, rare ones where, this is a great wallet. And I'm happy to endorse it.
Believe it or not, they didn't actually name the wallet after you, Mark. I know you really probably want to believe that it was all about you, but your name's Mark Edge. They didn't name it after you.
I don't know why you would tell our listeners lies like that.
I'm just telling you. They've been actually at this for a long time. They used to do the Airbits wallet way back. They started in 2014, and Airbits was a Bitcoin-only wallet. It was fantastic, arguably the best Bitcoin-only wallet of its time. And, of course, there's a whole lot more than just Bitcoin out there these days, so they had to go multi-crypto, and that's what Edge allows you to do. It also allows you to buy, sell, trade, and, of course, securely hold multiple cryptocurrencies. We're talking about more than I can easily name here. Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, many of the Ethereum tokens, Monero. Good luck finding a Monero wallet out there. Those things aren't that easy to find. Ripple, Stellar, and many more. So you can use edge.app to acquire the wallet, or you can just go through your Play or App Store and download it that way. Their tagline, secure your freedom, over at edge.app. Big fan. All right, we continue with your calls and thoughts. We go to the phones and to the fun. Let's talk first to James. He's in Alabama listening to WAVH down there in Mobile. Go ahead, James.
Hey, guys. Hope y'all doing well tonight.
Thank you. We are.
First time caller. I wasn't aware of the show. Just real quickly, I run a small business in Mobile, Alabama, construction company, coincidentally.
Thank you for your service.
I've been getting the Google listing callings for probably 4 or 5 years as well.
Wow.
That's not my topic. Just wanted to alert y'all.
But do you agree that you're referring, just for our listeners just tuning in, you're referring to, I think, the first call of the night earlier, and you're probably listening to it now. But anyway, my belief is these are scam calls. These are not actually coming from Google. Do you agree?
Well, I hadn't considered that until you mentioned it. Now, unlike the other caller, they never offered me a buyout, which had they done that, then it would immediately send up a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Google is far-reaching and the Internet in general is, so I really didn't have a huge doubt that maybe this was some kind of listing that they had provided. And that without again, like your other caller, I've never signed up for any Google listing. I thought it may have been something they'd done on their own. But had they offered me that, I would have jumped back really quickly.
They probably did create a listing for you, but, who knows who's calling you? Maybe it's Google, maybe it's not. Who knows?
Right. But that's not my topic.
Sure.
I did find that coincidental. I need to know who the cell phone police are. Man, I have been through several cell phone companies from Cell South, which is C South, I don't even know what they've changed to. I've been through AT&T, I've been through T-Mobile, and now I'm with Sprint. And the particular issue with Sprint is it's time for me to re-up my contract. They gave me an opening initial, special, what have you, for X amount of lines for X amount of dollars. Really good deal. Jumped on board. Time to re-sign. They gave me my second contract. This third contract I had, and I've been a business phone. All my phone calls were recorded. I had one of their agents offer me an even better deal than I ever had signing up. Of course, I jumped on it. Well, the next time I spoke with them, they said that there had been no deal offered to me that,
You must be mistaken, sir. We have altered the deal. Pray we don't alter it further.
Listen, I'm on my third round now. And again, with me having all of these phone calls recorded,
makes it a lot easier
to know who I can go to have something done about this. I'm tired of changing companies.
So just to be clear, I want to make sure I understand here. This is Sprint. Somebody promised you a deal for remaining with them, at your contract re-up time. You said, all right, I'll take that deal. Then the next time you talk to them, they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. That's what you're saying the problem is?
That's correct. And that was round one.
And you have the original call recorded with this person who made the deal, or no?
I do, yes.
So your question is, to whom can you play this audio to prove that you had this deal made?
That's exactly right.
That's an interesting question. Now, first of all, here's my other question for you. Do you know what the wiretapping laws are there in Alabama? Is it a one-party consent state?
No, it is a one-party consent state.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, it absolutely is.
So you're probably safe legally in recording that audio, because that's my first concern, is if you're in a state where there's two-party consent or all-party consent, then you'd be in trouble for wiretapping.
It's a good idea to have your business calls recorded, though. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. It's a good idea generally to record calls.
17 years in business, you learn some hard lessons.
Absolutely. Here's how I would approach it, and by no means am I an expert at dealing with cell phone companies, but if you've got a store, like a physical location you could go into, maybe you could talk to somebody there and they could escalate you to some higher tier, or you could try calling whatever helpline and say, I need management, and try to get above whatever the basic level tier service is, because there's usually a higher level of a call service provider that you can talk to there. Whether they'll let you add it or not is another question, but if you ask for it, you might be able to get there.
I wonder what would happen if you took them to small claims court. Right, like they'd have to respond.
Then you got to file. That costs money, right?
I know, a little, but not much. I'm just curious what would happen if you took a multinational corporation to small claims.
Well, and at this point, that's kind of what I'm facing. But the question is the give and take of the situation. I guess that I would be suing them for something. But back to your point, between the toll free number or the corporation or the company when you call them, or then go into the store, they go back and forth with the good cop, bad cop.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the asking to speak to management, of course, again, after going through 3 companies so far, I've done that. And they all say, okay, well, we're going to have a manager call you back, sir. And you can imagine how that works out.
Right.
Shoot. That is frustrating. I mean,
that's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can say is just either try to continue escalating to higher levels of management, and if that doesn't work, can you get out of is the contract to the point where you can exit it and go with another company at this point?
Sure. But here's the kind of gotcha as far as that's concerned. My phones, I've got multiple lines. They're all leased. So no, I'm out of my contract. I'm on month to month now, waiting on this call from management that's never going to come.
Yep.
But I owe several $100, nearly $1,000, if I were to close these contracts out to pay out these leases on these phones.
So you would then retain the phones as your phones at that point after you pay off the lease?
No, now I'm a little gray in this area. No, my understanding is they are still their phones, and then if one of them has a cracked screen, I pay extra for that. Right. Now, if I play out my lease, then they offer me a buyout for the phone, which is generally inexpensive, and then it actually is my phone, which I generally have to do because, again, I'm in construction, screens get busted, things get worn out. But if I were to drop in the middle of a lease, then I pay out the lease and they want the phones back. If a screen's busted, then I pay for the busted screen as well. So it's a catch-22, man. These guys have honed their skills.
Yeah, yeah. And you're exactly their target too. That guy, the small businessman who, doesn't have a lawyer on retainer but does have to have, 10 lines. Yeah, you're exactly what they're looking for.
Anytime you've got a situation where you're leased, they're leveraged against you. That's a tough situation, and in a lot of cases, you've got to be willing to pay whatever the price is to get out of a deal. Nobody wants to do it, but you got to pay the price if that's what you want to do, is exit this deal. And here's the other thing I would suggest: if you're running up against failure, trying to escalate to management, go ahead and call and tell them you are thinking of canceling. They will then move your call to the account retention department, and the account retention department's job is to get you to stay. And they will offer better deals in order to get you to stay. Generally, this is generally how they do it. They've got a script. They're told, read the script to the customer and see if you can cut them a 10% discount or something to get them to stay on board, usually. And that's where you can tell them your story and say, hey, look, I haven't gotten any calls back. This is why I'm thinking of leaving. And maybe that'll get you some attention from somebody that actually doesn't want you to quit the deal. James, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. There's more
Keep
coming
on
up.
constructing.
It's Free Talk Live. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Don't forget you can help support Free Talk Live directly via the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP. Like advertise, market, and promote, amp.freetalklive.com. That's the idea, is you send $5 a month into the show, like Piper has done.
Thank you, Piper.
Thank you, Piper. $5 a month gets you the Amplifier Silver rank, if you will. Of course, they all get basically the same perks, but if you want to do more, you can do that. Then we have the gold level and the platinum level. But you get some perks, you get some bennies, you get access to the AMP-only discussion forums, or not discussion forums, but chat rooms on our Discord server. There's the AMP-only Facebook group on our, on Facebook. I'm not on there anymore, but Mark, you're still there. And I guess it's still pretty busy.
What, Facebook?
The AMP group?
They post every almost every day.
Okay, cool. So you get some bennies, and there's a whole list of those, and also you'll get a list of how we're spending the money to help promote and advertise Free Talk Live and get on more radio stations around the country. If you like what we're doing, this is a great way to help us out. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can use PayPal, you can use credit card, you can use Bitcoin BTC to get signed up at amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts. We can talk more about Trump. He wants to send immigrants to the sanctuary cities. That's what he's saying, at least. He says he's considering basically putting them on a bus and dropping them off in Chicago and, San Francisco or whatever other sanctuary cities are out there. Let's talk to Thomas first, though, in McConnellsburg, listening to WEEO-FM in Pennsylvania. Go ahead, Thomas.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Welcome. You're on the air.
Man, these guys want to drop up all the illegals and all these sanctuary cities. You know what? I'm all for Trump, man. Drop them off. But the folks are like, we don't want them. We don't want them now. But it's pretty funny.
I haven't seen any of them react that way. I don't know that. I'm sure some of them are that.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, well, it's amusing that they're calling themselves a sanctuary city if they don't want that people that they're trying to give sanctuary to.
Right, sanctuary, but. They want to bring them there and whatever, but now they're saying no, we don't want them now. We don't want them now.
Well, we're not hearing that though. We're not hearing anybody say they don't want them. Are you?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that?
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Where did you hear it though? Where'd you hear that was happening?
Anyway, no, brother. I just called to say you guys. I love your radio show.
Well, thank you for that. But I'm still curious. Where did you hear that they don't want the immigrants in the sanctuary cities?
Yeah, I want to look.
Just from inner talk, people that don't want to see themselves in the media, the people, the incognito people.
You're saying people individually in those cities, despite what the mayor might say, some individuals are saying they don't want. Okay, yeah,
I can see that. People that don't want to be out there in the open, they don't want to put themselves in the media because they don't want to be shunned and and poked at and whatever. You know how it is when you come out.
Well, yeah, they might look xenophobic, for instance. They might
want to be poked and whatever and be shunned and put in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I would be embarrassed by saying I didn't want people to come into a supposedly free country. That would be embarrassing.
I'm from Florida, and I've got to say this.
Exactly. You see, just like the people that voted for Trump are the same people that don't. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. They want to be incognito. But
I
they're
don't
the
know.
same people that go out and push the button and vote for that man. You know what I'm saying?
I actually don't know what you're saying.
They don't want nobody to know. I'm not the person that voted for that person. You know
but
a
lot of people did vote for Trump that won't admit to it.
They don't want to be thrown out there in the media.
It's a secret ballot, so nobody knows when you vote how you voted.
Yeah, but people can tell you that they voted a certain way.
Because you're going to be put out there and you're going to be put in the spotlight, and you're a bad guy because you voted for him. And
well, I think both Trump and Hillary were bad choices.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very bad. Look what's coming now. Oh my God!
What's coming now?
How are you going to vote? How are you going to vote in 2020? Oh my gosh! All this stuff coming up in 2020 is totally crazy.
What's crazy? What is so crazy about it?
Because there's so many Democrats. All these Democrats come out.
Is this any different than any other election? I mean, aren't there always like a dozen people that are running early on in primaries?
Yeah, but now look, it's like 20 of them, 20 plus of them. So all of them Democrats, what that's going to do is give more votes to President Trump. It's going to bring Trump back in there. Not that I don't want him back in there, because I don't want you to know that I want him back in there.
Okay, Thomas, thanks for not taking a strong stand on anything. Appreciate the call. Good Lord. He had a lot to say, but didn't have a lot to say. I don't know. That was very strange. Thanks for listening, though.
I think
Appreciate
this Democratic field is a bit more sort of progressive, I think is the term they like to use.
Well, yeah, they got to move to the left, right, to attract the
progressing towards socialism or whatever.
Yeah.
Then they have been. The Democratic Party isn't necessarily a leftist party. I mean, that's what they've come to be known, but they were just kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different groups.
I don't know. I'd have to take your word for it. I've never really paid close attention to these parties. So
all right. Well, they're cobbled together like the Republican Party is cobbled together. The Democratic Party is cobbled together. One of those groups are sort of highly progressive leftist types that want this, that, and the other, whatever it is that they might want. And this particular go around, that group has a lot of currency. So I'm curious as to what's going to happen. But it looks like at this point Joe Biden's been essentially shunned out because, well, there's creepy pictures of him on the internet.
Has he really? Has he decided not to run?
I don't think he's going to throw his hat in the ring, would be my guess. But more or less, he's on his heels very early.
The Washington Post first reported Thursday, this is according to Reuters, that the White House has been considering a plan for transporting immigrants in detention and releasing them into sanctuary cities that are Democratic strongholds.
Man, he's taking a page out of Castro's book here.
Really?
Castro did this with you're not familiar with the
when he sent them to Florida, you mean?
Yeah. He basically emptied the prisons and insane asylums onto boats and sent them to Florida.
I think this is great news, honestly. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if Trump realizes this, but ultimately this is fantastic for those immigrants. Like, if they're in detention and he's actually going to let them out into these cities, and he's just talking. He's probably not going to actually do this. But it's making headlines. They probably
don't have room in these detention centers anymore.
But that's it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what the news headlines have been. So maybe he will do it. And if he does, that's great news. It gives these people an opportunity. They're going to be in a place where at least politically they're welcomed, at least by the governments of those cities. Now, we know that individually, as our caller was pointing out, there are individuals in any place that are going to disagree with what's happening. But I think this is, it's a humanitarian move on Trump's part. Like, he gets to play it off as though he's screwing the Democrats, but on the other side of things, he's helping these immigrants. So that's wonderful.
Also, it costs money to keep people that into detention centers.
It costs taxpayers money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
So
what's the point? Why keep these people there to feed them when they could be out feeding themselves by working?
That'd be good for everybody.
There's plenty of jobs available for these people to take. And so, I mean, I think this is sensible. Nevertheless, Trump, speaking to reporters at the White House Friday, said of sanctuary cities, quote, "We can give them an unlimited supply." All right. Bring it on. Right. I think that's great, because the more people we have coming into the United States, the stronger that are willing to work, that is, the stronger the economy is going to be. Immigrants have historically, in a so-called free country, been a boon. It's been a benefit to the economy, to business. Immigrants tend to be hardworking folks. They tend to be entrepreneurial people who were told where they come from they couldn't start their own business. And, of course, in the United States, there's plenty of governments that will tell you can't start your own business. You got to beg for permission. You got to ask for licenses. So, of course, it always turns out that a lot of immigrants get disillusioned by actually living here. They find out it's not free.
There's plenty of people sneaking across the border to go back home, too.
Yeah. They find out it's actually not a free country. Like, just a couple of years ago, we had a guy on from Cameroon, Africa, who called the show, who really believed that the United States was a free place. That myth still works its way around the planet.
Well, it's probably freer than Cameroon.
Probably, no doubt.
And that, therefore, sounds free.
Yeah.
It's sad that the United States is sliding down the world's freedom charts, like economic freedom charts. These conservative think tanks, places like Heritage Foundation, libertarian think tanks like the Cato Institute, they're looking at the United States, comparing it to other countries, and they're finding, in many cases, it's not the freest place in the world. And that's a shame. I mean, I wish we were striving to do that.
One immigration expert who asked not to be identified noted that undocumented immigrants in federal custody could be at one of several stages of the adjudication process, and that Trump likely has the power to have them sent to different jurisdictions from where they are being held. But the source added, quote, "This is a stunt. It doesn't enhance the efficiency of the process." Well, that said, if they're turning people loose out of detention centers and they get a chance at an actual life here, it's a win for those immigrants, I think. And ultimately, a win for those cities. Because these people are, for the most part, hardworking. So, we'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com. But yes, they should also abolish the welfare state. Unfortunately, nobody's going to propose that, not even Trump. We'll see you tomorrow. freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com